Welcome, and everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and looks like it's just the two of us today, but a lot going on around the NFL for sure. But
hey, let's start with what I thought was going to happen, but you guys did not. Your old coach, Pete Carroll. That was a surprise to you guys, I'm sure.
I mean, they finished so badly that I knew there was a chance. It just seemed like they were going to give him one more year. But as we got closer to the end here, they looked much closer to like a full-scale rebuild, which that made me think Pete wasn't the guy. So when we talked earlier in the year about it, I was like, yeah, there's no way. But then as we got down the stretch here, it's like, oh, no, this team is horrible. But on my list of 9, 6 of them got fired.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew Stefanski. Brian Dable's already been gone. Brian Callahan was ridiculous. I was surprised about the Falcons firing. However, you could tell that is a full push. Like we are doing everything we can right now to change the entire organization.
Yeah, I mean, them firing literally everybody, they're going to have a wildly different look, right? Like it was when you lose the GM, the coach, the CEO, like everybody, that's I'm tired of losing as an owner.
Exactly. So there's a piece of me that thinks as part of this, John Harbaugh is not, his fate's not decided yet.
Yeah, well, and of course, a couple of these very easily could have been fired, and then the organizations came out and said, hey, these guys are safe in McDaniel and Zach Taylor. But I mean, you can easily make the case for Taylor for sure. Now I blame the GM more than anything for their situation. McDaniel, I think, did enough at the end of the season to save himself. And Harbaugh, I think, is just safe because the Ravens don't fire people, similar to the Steelers.
Yeah, but I think that there is enough backlash now from the fan base that they are taking a listen. They got their ear to the ground at the moment. So my thought is that it's going to be a decision made tomorrow, maybe even Thursday. Because I think that they do things slowly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know that he's necessarily safe. I think he is safer than a lot of other situations. Right. Because I mean, they're going to point a little bit to the fact that, Lamar spent, a fair amount of time injured this year. There's going to be things that they'll look at through this season that, they were a field goal away from getting a division title anyway, albeit, not with a great record. But, I think there's enough there that they can be like, hey, well, Harbaugh has another crack at this, right? Because your roster is mostly intact. I don't think they actually fire him. I just had him on my list because you could make a case for it.
Right. Well, I honestly think he should go. That it's been, listen, you've had a 2-time MVP. Your offense has been good enough, and you haven't been able to get past one guy, one team really.
Yeah.
So that you have been beaten nonstop by your original mentor, because Harbaugh is from the Andy Reid tree.
No,
So I don't.
I'm with you. And honestly, the shortcomings have been coaching, right? Like you can't really drop a bunch of these at the feet of the players when you abandon half of your game and the better half of your game every time the moment is big. So that to me falls squarely on coaching. So I mean, there are some big elements that could lead to him being fired. I just think because it's the Ravens, it's less likely than some of these other organizations. Can't be a Dolphins fan anymore.
I'm surprised at McDaniel. That was a it's like I know that. Listen, I hear we hear all the time. Yeah, we're giving him a vote of confidence. He's going to stay, and then
guys get fired.
the next day.
Yeah, and I don't think he's safe yet. I think it has a lot to do with the GM that comes in.
That could be.
Now, they did say that he's going to be involved in picking the GM. And if that's the case, then he really is safe. But if they're picking the GM, then if the GM has someone in mind, he could easily get fired. But if he legitimately is going to be part of the decision-making of the GM coming in, then you have to think that that he's relatively safe in that position, at least for next season.
Gotcha. Is Jason in the queue?
No.
Okay. I just gave him the link on the text message. So.
Oh, he got it in the same email you did. So
I hear you, but yeah, I'm just making sure that we all know what's going on. Kevin Stefanski let his ego get in the way. I think that if he was more apt to deal with Sanders, he probably would not have gotten fired. But I think that the way that he did things purposely to try to limit Sanders is the reason why he wound up getting fired. I mean, this is the Cleveland Browns.
I think he wanted to get fired at this point.
I think that's what it came down to, that he didn't want to deal with Sanders.
Well, I don't know that he wanted to deal with the Browns anymore. Like, I think at this point, because it's been such a dumpster fire since he got there because he didn't want Deshaun either, right? He didn't want that trade. They trade for him. It was a disaster. He gets his guy. Then there's so much pressure to start the guy he didn't want. I think he just didn't want to be there anymore. And he's going to be a front runner for some of these other jobs that have just opened up. Because nobody's going to look at his tenure with the Browns and be like, oh, he's a bad coach. You're going to look at his tenure with the Browns and be like, yeah, the Browns are a dysfunctional, crazy franchise.
Yeah, again, I want somebody who has won a championship. That's what I want. Out of everybody on the list, Pete Carroll and Jonathan Gannon, they're the only two that have a Super Bowl ring. Actually, and Gannon doesn't even have the Super Bowl ring. He lost it at the last game and then stayed in Arizona. So
yeah, but I mean, Gannon couldn't be there anyway. Like, you knew he was getting fired. I was surprised it took as long as it did for him to get fired.
Well, I mean, they gave him 3 years. 3 years is what it takes, I think. I mean, I feel like that gives you a good sample size. Your first 2 years, first year you're getting the lay of the land, especially when you're a brand new coach.
Sure.
Your second year, you start to implement. Your third year, you're starting to really compete. That's what's got to happen. That's how I look at it. It's like sometimes that curve is a lot higher. Like you got Ben Johnson with Chicago. Chicago had pieces in place. They had good draft picks. You have Ben Johnson, who is a good coach. being able to put this together. Now, I believe Chicago's got like 3 first-round picks again. So you think about what he could do now to revamp the defense, because that's the next thing. I mean, obviously their offense can score points. It's their defense now that has to get fixed. Maybe get an offensive lineman or two. But ultimately, I mean, he right now, you could say, I would say, is a contender. I don't think they would get to the Super Bowl. I don't think they win the Super Bowl. I don't think their defense is strong enough, especially in the playoffs when defense is what wins championships. You need to have, and this is where I think Seattle will falter a little bit, even though they have a good defense. Their offense is not as strong. And when you go up against 2 good defenses, when it's 2 good defenses on the field, where the Eagles and the Seahawks are going to be, as long as the Eagles don't get in their own heads about not being able to beat the Seahawks, that's the problem.
That element?
So that's going to be the Rams' problem. The Rams feel like they could beat everybody except the Eagles.
Yeah.
So now Matt Stafford has beaten the Eagles.
Although you guys square off against the Niners.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying next.
I got you.
Yeah. What if there is a next? What if the Niners take you out? They got a pretty good defense over there, and their run game is pretty good.
No, they don't. No, they don't. The defense on the Niners right now is Swiss cheese. And what you saw Sunday was an inept Seattle offense, not when you saw good offense.
The Niners defense isn't as bad as you make it sound. Their pass rush is. Their defense isn't bad. The big takeaway from that game is how Seattle shut down that Niners offense, because that Niners offense had been hanging tons of points on everybody.
Right. But all you have to do is stop CMC. That's all you got to do.
Well, no,
you got to stop it. Not that that's a simple process to do either, because they do very good on moving him. But when you look at the Chicago game, the 49ers versus Chicago, which I think is a better game to hang a lot of your stuff on. I think that Seattle showed you the concept on beating San Francisco's offense. But what you saw from the defense was Chicago walked down the field. Chicago was an incomplete pass away from winning that game.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to keep in mind the Niners, the previous 3 games were putting up almost 40 points a game.
Well, yeah, you can outscore teams. I mean, but look at those games before that. I'm going to go back into the annals of the 49ers and their schedule.
They beat the Bears 42-38, right? They didn't slow anybody down there. They beat the Colts 48-27.
Yep.
And say what you want about the Colts, they do have a decent defense.
And they get a good run game as well.
They ran over the Titans, but nobody cares about that because
but the Titans still scored 24 points.
No. But what my point is everybody's running over the Titans. So I mean, that's not really
fair enough.
And then look at this: no defense. Browns, a little bit of defense, but not great. Panthers, not a very good defense, but serviceable, and still was a close game, 20-9. Cardinals, no defense. I mean, and division. The Rams, they put up 42 points on them. The Giants put up 24 points. So, and that goes all the way back to November. Rob, are you kidding me? Are you talking about the guy? We didn't play any of our starters except one so that he could get his bonus. And you're telling me that, we lost to Washington and you're using that as an example? Listen, you guys scored 13 points on an inept defense. On an inept defense that the Cardinals scored 22. The Titans scored 24. The Colts scored 27. The Bears scored 38. You scored 13. Don't tell me, Rob.
So the thing is you can minimize even the Titans because they're a bad team, but they were averaging almost 30 points a game the last 4 games until the Jags game anyway. So, I mean, it's not like they didn't figure out how to move the ball. Now, I mean, he does have a little bit of a point. You're talking like Seattle is a trash team, but
no. They're number 1 seed. That speaks for itself. Their defense has won them a tremendous amount of games.
But I think
that
Bo
defense
goes back. Hold on, what Bo said earlier, and I do believe what Bo was saying. If they have both of those, once they get both of those starting tackles back, which is going to help out protecting Darnold, that Charbonnet and Walk have no problems running that ball. I've watched them run the ball. They got a great defense. They have a very solid run game. They got a number 1 wideout. They got good coaching. You give that Darnold time to throw the ball, and that dude's going to do some damage. And I'm sorry, Pags, but I don't believe in Philly right now. I know you guys are the reigning champs. I'm not trying to take that away, but I think we all know that you're inconsistent on offense a lot. So let's not act like you got some clear path to the Super Bowl because you don't.
I'm not talking about the Eagles right now. I'm talking about the other teams. When I talk about the Eagles, I already know what the deficiencies are. The 49ers right now, I tell you that defense is Swiss cheese. I'm looking at the 49ers, and I'm looking at that. I know that my defense, all we have to do is score 22 points. 22 points is all we got to score, and we win this game. If we don't score 22 points, which is a possibility because our offense has been inept, then at that point, we may lose. Up until that point, though, 22 points is a winning game. And I think that's throughout the playoffs, actually.
In a heavy defense game, 22 points can win it.
So
Absolutely.
now when it gets to Seattle, Seattle's game, like if we looking forward, if the Eagles were to just win and then get to Seattle and we play Seattle where it's that defense against our defense, I think first off, I think that it's the turnover battle that wins that game in a big, big way. And
certainly in a game like that. Yeah.
Right. Or field position, because that could really be a big field position game. Like where you're, and the biggest problem that I have with the Eagles in general, in terms of their defense, is that sometimes they let teams drive. You could get a couple of first downs. And in a game like that, that's where the field position is going to be a big factor. So we need to make sure to get off the field on 3rd down against Seattle. That being said, they got to stay out of their own head, too.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is probably one of the biggest stats for a matchup like that, whether it's against, Seattle, Philly, LA. Those 3 teams, you have to get off the field on 3rd down, because if you can't, those are all good enough teams that they'll hurt you. If you let the teams hang around, it's a problem.
Yeah, especially if you don't contain that run game. A lot of them will chew up that clock just on that run game alone.
No question.
I don't care what the Eagles did in the second half. It's like you could bring up all this stuff, Joe. Listen, your team's on the couch, Joe, and you're in Italy. You don't get to watch as much football as I do. You don't have to tell me about the fact that we didn't get a completed pass the other game from now. Does it matter? Does it matter?
Pags, that man's on an Italian leather couch. I promise you, he's comfortable.
It's got plastic on it. It's got plastic on it.
It may have plastic, but it's an Italian leather couch. Let's not act like Joe's over there hurt, and let's not act like you possibly couldn't be on the couch in round 1.
It's pretty under the plastic, though.
Well, that's why they put the plastic over top of it.
Exactly.
So it stays that way forever. But in a realistic sense, yes, you're right. The Eagles got to do what they got to do to win. San Francisco is not a pushover by any stretch. And there's a history now. It's like there is This is probably the game that best suits the you could say that the last time the Eagles played the 49ers, that the 49ers used that game as the uh, payback for the NFC Championship game. And they played that game. I mean, that was where the Eagles played 3 games in 12 days,
Yeah.
and they were tired. And the 49ers just wrecking balled them. They wrecking balled them like straight out. They just they trained them. They just went and just knocked the hell out of them. And you could tell that the Eagles weren't ready. The Eagles not only weren't ready, they were tired. Because I remember one play, the running back, that was where like a running back was like running at like 70% speed, and the defender came in at 100% speed, and he just blew him up. And that was the epitome of that entire game, and that started the slide for the Eagles, because everything else before that was I mean, they were winning games similar to the way Kansas City was winning games 2 years ago. Like 1 point games and stuff like that. A little bit of help here, a little bit of help there, things like that.
A lot of close.
A
lot of close games.
This game is going to be a real. Hey, this is the playoffs now. If San Francisco is going to have a memory, they're going to remember the NFC Championship game, and they're going to want to use this game as payback.
Hey, real question. What is the status on Goddard's knee? I know they held him out for precautionary reasons against Washington, but do you know like how his knee is looking?
Who?
Goddard? Is that how you say his name? The tight end for
Dallas.
Goddard? Is that how you say Goddard? Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't hear you. You had your finger in your mouth. I was like,
oh, my bad. Not my
how's everybody?
Sorry.
Yeah, Dallas is going to play. Everybody is going to play. They're going to have all 22 starters.
Nice.
Okay.
So
good deal.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, if you can get healthy for the playoffs, that's massive, because you don't necessarily have to be the most talented team. Sometimes just the war of attrition comes into play when it comes to playoff time. But you can just be the healthiest team and go get a ring.
Yeah, and I'm interested to really see, is Chicago going to be able to get over the hump of Green Bay? Playing the team for the third time is always tough. I think that coaching goes to Chicago. Quarterback even goes to Chicago, and I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I just feel that if there was ever a team that's going to go in there and upset Chicago, that Green Bay could be the one. And that's just going to be really intriguing to watch that whole thing occur.
Yeah, I think that's another one where they get in their own head, because they are the more talented team as it sits today. And at the same time, I kind of expect Green Bay to win. Roger, what's up, buddy? All the weird comments come from your YouTube, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Real quick.
Now you don't get to talk anymore there, dummy.
Uh-oh. I didn't even look at that comment, but it must have been pretty bad for Pax to do that.
It's just weird.
Probably.
Stuff. So.
Weird world we live in. It's a small world, after all.
Yeah, and Joe, I'm with you. I got Green Bay beating Chicago.
I think this is one of those games where I feel like if Micah Parsons was playing in this game, I could definitely get behind Green Bay doing it. I think he would harass the hell out of Caleb Williams. And I think he would line up in so many different places, or they play in so many places that it might confuse him up a little bit sometimes. I'm gonna roll with Chicago on that as well. I just feel like they're a little bit better team, honestly.
Chicago should win.
Yeah. And it's in Chicago, correct? Right?
It is. And there's no reason for them to lose.
Right.
Like, everything favors Chicago. It's in Chicago. They have the better roster. They're healthier. Like, there's better coach, more consistent at QB this year. And yet
Packers are favored.
Exactly. It's because you just don't believe in the Bears to not shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
you know what though? This is the
surprises
year
me.
for turning scripts. This is the year for that.
1, 2, 3, 4 home teams are underdogs. Panthers.
Wow.
And
well, you knew the
Panthers are 10-point underdog. The Bears are 1.5-point underdog. The Jaguars are a 1.5-point underdog, and the Steelers are 3.5. I will say that the biggest scare that could come out of that is the Panthers. Panthers beat the Rams once. What's that money line? I want to know what that money line.
The thing with teams that win their division with a losing record have surprised people in the wild card round. Right. I mean, that's where Beastquake came from for Seattle. We won. We were the first team to win with a losing record at 7-9, and then we upset the juggernaut of the Saints that year. Like everybody had the Saints in the Super Bowl, and we bounced them in the wild card round. Shocked everybody. Now the next week, we were not great, but in that game,
the next week we sucked balls, but we didn't get.
I mean, it was still a game, but yeah, it was something else. And then I forget the other team that won with a losing record, but they also, I believe, won in a wild card round. So I mean, it can happen because you're playing with house money, right? There's no pressure on you.
I tell you, this Jacksonville team, though, is a mystery to me, and I kind of have a weird vibe about it. I feel like they're hot right now, and they got that swagger in that locker room, and everybody's vibing on one page. I mean, I feel like Jacksonville could be really dangerous right now.
Jacksonville is probably the hottest team going into it.
Right.
They figured their team out at the right time. They're playing really good football. I just keep waiting for Lawrence to turn back into Lawrence. Right?
I understand that. Yeah.
So watching, because we have years of tape on this guy,
right?
Similar to the Bears situation, right? You're like, okay, like if you're looking at it in a vacuum, they're playing really good right now. But all this other stuff still creeps in your mind, and you're just like, okay, I'm waiting for you to turn back into that guy. Or this team, when it comes to the Bears, to turn back into the Bears. And so, it's, I don't know. I keep waiting for them to just fall apart.
I feel like the fans of Detroit probably feel the same way about the Lions at times. Like when the Lions look really, really awesome and everybody wants to get behind them, and then you're scared to get behind them because you don't want to get let down, like a Barry Sanders situation where you're doing so well, but then you just can't quite get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's got to be frustrating to be a Lions team because there have been some really good teams that have gone through there.
I mean, I don't know. The Lions just had too much to overcome this year.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
All the injuries, switching quarterbacks, whatever. Like it's, do
you think Ben Johnson was just that powerful that when he left, a little bit that went with him?
No, I think what it is if you would have had your coordinators leave, but you stay healthy, you'd have been fine. Or if you have your coordinators and you have injuries, you can kind of work through it. If you have all of those things, then at some point, there's just too much change to overcome. And it's not like they had a horrible season. It just wasn't good enough to get in the playoffs. But, they were playing through a hard division.
Yeah.
So, honestly, if they had their exact same scenario and they were playing in the South, they probably win.
Exactly.
So,
especially if they're in the you're right. If they were in the South, they probably do win.
And yep, everybody got quiet there for a second.
Yeah. Sorry. There was no football last night.
Actually, there was a very interesting football game. For the Division 1A, or Montana State versus Illinois Southern, I think it
Wait,
might have
wait.
would have been.
What did you turn into
Um,
stat guy?
So no, I watched the game,
I'm just easy.
and
That's
it
FCS.
was won in overtime.
Yeah.
Illinois Southern goes down, and they by overtime rules 25 yards. They score a touchdown. The extra point gets blocked. Montana State gets their opportunity. 4th and 10, get the touchdown pass and kick the extra point to win the game. Montana State was the one that was very they were favored anyways.
Right.
Illinois Southern actually beat Villanova to get there, and they were unranked. But football happened last night, and it was a national championship.
Montana State. That's FCS, right?
Yes.
Am I right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was FCS.
Yeah.
But 100%.
Yeah, 1A. So it's
Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, so there was some football left today.
Hey, I do want to say though, shout out to Dallas for getting rid of Eberflus. It had to happen. That defense was just god awful bad.
Yeah,
Even though we've had 4 coordinators the last 4 seasons. I don't know if we're gonna get it right.
Well, I mean, you're not, but
well, thank you, Bo.
Eberflus to begin with, like that was terrible.
Yeah,
Funny, but terrible.
We just had
Speaking of,
defense.
Speaking of funny situations, you had Myles Garrett set the sack record, right? And during the game, they sort of paused the game to let him celebrate, right? And normally, that's a flag. Like if you get people running off the sideline, there's a penalty for that, right? So Chase was a little bit upset about it, and so here's the soundbite from him.
There were some people who were upset. You seem to be one pointing down the field when the Browns were celebrating the sack. That was during the middle of the game.
Do that. I never knew you could let the whole team get on your field. That's like me catching my 10th pass and the whole team running on the field. We're gonna get flagged. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But congrats to him and everything. But they got to call a flag on that play.
I mean, you guys were trying to go win the game.
We were trying to hurry up too. We couldn't even hurry up. The refs was looking at us like we did something wrong the whole time. So it was. I don't know what was going on that play.
Did they give you any kind of explanation of why it stopped without a flag?
No. I mean, do y'all interview the refs?
Apparently, Zach said the refs told him after the fact that they had decided they were going to stop the game, but never informed the coaching staff. Stop the game to let them celebrate the moment.
Well, I hope. Well, they better stop the game when I do something in my back end. That's all I got to say about that one.
Maybe you should do something great and be in the playoffs there, dumbass.
So this is Zach's version of it in his press conference. Oh. Why does this not work correctly anymore? That is really annoying.
Yeah, I do think that still a ticky-tack on his part. I'm pretty as long as the clock is stopped, you're not losing time. So, and if anything, if he gives the other team the defense, whatever, to strategize. I don't get it.
It's not like they strategize.
What was going on?
I mean, I don't know. Figuring out the next play, it gives them a little bit of time to figure out the right play. I don't know.
I did see what the coach said.
The refs just said that they made a decision that they were going to stop
You can't really hear it, but
as quickly as possible.
are you loading it or?
We didn't sub. We're trying to be on the ball and go and play with tempo. And the umpire just held the ball so that we couldn't do anything. And I'm yelling at Joe, get on the ball. We didn't sub. We're going. And then we couldn't play. And so, again, trying to get an answer was not easy. They just said that they made a decision as a crew to stop the game when that happened. I guess it didn't matter when it happened. It just, they were going to stop the game and let it happen.
And you weren't informed of that?
No, I was never informed of that. They didn't say one word. We met with them in the 90-minute meeting before the game. They never said one word about it.
So
Wow.
I get the frustration in a little bit because you're trying to go up tempo and get on the ball. At the same time, your season's been over for 5 weeks. So And it's not like this is an unprecedented thing. As I recall, they let Emmitt Smith, when he broke the rushing record, have a moment during the game also. So it's not like it's the only time it's happened. That's the only.
And the last time they even let, even though what's his face fell, and all he had to do was touch him, they let what's his name, Strahan, have a moment.
Yeah. So I mean, if this was playoff implications and stuff like that, I could get the outrage a little bit. When this is a game that means nothing and hasn't meant anything for weeks, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, again, if this was me getting in the playoffs or not, I would be hot, right? Because you're messing with the pace of the game and all of that. But this was not that.
That might have just been him and his feelings, like you said, because we're probably getting the win.
100%. I mean, I get you're trying to win the last game, whatever, but I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything for either team. Like all of it was a wrap at that point. So it didn't make a ton of sense. Now they probably still should have thrown the flag, just, for whatever reason, but especially if they didn't communicate this to the other coach, be like, hey, we'll give you an extra 15. It's not going to matter. Both these teams are toast anyway. But
yeah, maybe if he had the same sense of urgency earlier in the season to fix the friggin' defense, that maybe they would be in the playoffs rather than worrying about what Joe Burrow is going to do in the offseason.
Yeah. Exactly. Or maybe you just spend your money a little bit better so you can protect your quarterback, so that doesn't get put on you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I just thought it was funny because there was this like feigned outrage about this celebration for two teams that. I mean, what you're playing for a draft pick, I guess. Like neither one of these teams are doing anything and weren't going to be doing anything for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe they should cheer me when I do something great. Well, do something great then, dummy.
I'm bringing it on my back end.
Not only that, but when you watch the sack, it's not like it looked like Burrow just kind of gave up on the play anyway. Like he kind of sat down as opposed to fighting through the contact, because it looked like he could have actually gotten away. So it almost had that Brett Favre-esque, I'm going to let you, get this thing. So you can't then turn around and be mad. Like at the same time, if you didn't want him to celebrate, could have kept him from sacking him.
That would have been a start.
Yeah.
Well, and they did pretty well. It's like
only got one.
Huh?
They did do well. He only got the one sack. So I mean,
right. And everybody triple teamed him for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They did not want him to get that record.
Well, you don't want him to get the record on you because you go in the record book with it.
Yeah, nobody wants that mess. Who did?
Not really though, because you get that. All right, you got the record with him, but then if you get 2 more sacks that season, that gets lost.
It's the last game, so
yeah.
But yeah, the ones before, I get it. But at the same time, whenever they set the record, they always bring up who they set it against.
Oh yeah.
So even if it would have been, even say, you got the 22 and you ended up with 25, the 22nd one where you set the record is the one that gets brought up a lot.
Yeah. Who did Mark Gastineau sack? Yeah, nobody knows. And who did he beat to get that sack record?
I mean, that was longer ago than I watched football. So.
Reggie White, by the way, he beat Reggie White. Yeah, Reggie White had 21 and a half sacks in like a strike shortened season. So imagine what would have happened had that not been a strike shortened season. Sure. He probably would have had like 45 sacks that year. So, I mean, realistically, they haven't even sacks are a new stat right now anyways. So relatively in the grand scheme of things, they started counting them, I think in 1978, 1980, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, but Yeah, and so nobody remembers Mark Gastineau. The only reason why we remember Favre is because he gave it to him.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's publicized way more now also.
Right. We're never going to remember that it was Joe Burrow that he got the 22 sacks on. We're going to remember that year that he had 2 games where he had 5 sacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
They'll bring that up though. They'll bring up that it was against Burrow.
Yeah.
And the reason they do is it adds an extra couple seconds to their slotted topic. I mean, that's why some of those things get brought in. Is it's like, okay, it adds a little depth to the conversation, adds a little more time to the conversation. I mean, these guys are trying to fill a 3-hour show.
That's a lot of time
of missed or non-calls this year.
Yeah.
The refs were terrible a lot of the time, just in general.
Oh, yeah.
Every game. But at least they were consistent. So, had that going for you.
I feel like the missed calls are like the equivalency of strikes being called balls and balls being called strikes in baseball. I mean, you never get it 100% right.
Yeah,
or they're controversial when they're made.
I think that's the biggest thing with football over the last couple of years is the refs have been less consistent than their counterparts before them, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the old guys have all moved on, right? Hockey Lee and Sarator and like all these guys that were generally pretty good at calling these games. Now you get into the ones today. Hockey Lee's kid actually does pretty well, but there's a lot of missed calls all the time, or it'll be something that's not called. I think it's the inconsistency that makes me the most mad about it is when it's not a penalty all day, and then the last 4 minutes it becomes one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to call a ticky-tack kind of game, cool. Do it from the jump so everybody can adjust to it. Or if you're just going to let things go, just let them go the whole game, right? So it's when you don't know what the expectation is, I think, is where it irritates me.
I also had a problem. Like, so here's the other thing that I got, when the receiver is holding the defender and then does something specifically that messes with him trying to catch the pass, and then they call the pass interference on the defender. And here's the other thing that I saw that was hysterical to me. All game long, I love McLaurin. I think that he's one of the best receivers in the league. He literally would run into a guy and fall, and that guy would get the pass interference call. He did it 3 times in the game. One time he was down on the ground for like 10 seconds, and he finally found him to throw the ball towards him and threw the ball at him while he was on the ground. Like he never was going to catch that ball in the first place because he had already been on the ground because he ran into the defender, fell to the ground, knocked the defender down, by the way, knocked the defender like 2 yards off of him. And then was on the ground for like 5 seconds as what's-his-face was scrambling around. Williams was scrambling around and then threw the ball his way. And they got a pass interference call. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It was like so ridiculous. And it was so blatant.
The one that we've seen a little bit more of this year is them actually calling offensive pass interference, which, a lot of times they wouldn't call. But we have seen more of that this year.
I tell you what. There we go. Now nobody gets to talk there. How about that?
Oh, did you just cancel it from your YouTube?
I just removed it. I got every idiot in the world trying to talk today.
Yeah, it's you always get the weird ones, man.
Yeah, it's the same guy who I blocked the first time. Making another account.
Makes sense.
Idiots.
Oh,
and
wow.
for those of you not watching on his channel, you're not missing out.
Yeah, you're definitely you're definitely not missing out. What a jackass!
So,
Pardon my French.
yeah.
Hey, Pax, you know it's hard to be a celebrity sometimes, man. You get the good ones and you get the bad ones. I think every celebrity runs into that, unfortunately.
The bad ones actually aren't even bad because they're going to watch, right? So get you the watch hours and all of that. It's
It almost
just
kind of plays, yeah, it almost plays to your benefit when they do that because you're right, because you get the watch hours, the clicks, all that stuff. Still
oh yeah.
counts.
It's one of the things I always say. Like your friends and family will watch whenever they can. Haters will never miss a show.
Yeah.
Right, because they want to say whatever dumb stuff. They want you to fail. Like it's embrace the hate. That's the thing. On my channel, I just have it so that there's some keywords that you can't use. So
Yeah. Wow.
what would it take for the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl next season? About 53 other men.
And a GM and to draft those 50 or get those 53 other men. Let's start with the GM first. That might be the number one spot.
What's happening, Cam?
I tell you, man, it's crazy to me. Jerry Jones is there forever. 30 years. I mean, I wish we could fire our GM. Oh, that's right. He's the owner. Can't do nothing about that.
Yep.
All right, like literally, like I remember that guy asked Jerry, Jerry, if you were 30 other teams, they hire you, and it's like nobody's gonna hire you, Jerry. I remember they had that conversation with him. I'm like, I wish we could fire a GM. Nobody would have a 30-year GM, 30 years of losing.
It's been a couple years.
It's been several. My couch has been worn out. I had to replace so many couches. It's ridiculous.
That being said, I think that final game of the season probably solidified Stafford as your MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing for 4 touchdowns, kind of eliminating that debacle the week before from memory. And when you go across the stats, he is better than Drake May in just about everything. So I think that will solidify him as your MVP this year. Now, I think Legacy Award would have played a role either way, but as it sits now, they both finished with the same amount of interceptions at 8. Stafford has, significantly more touchdowns. So it's I think Stafford probably locked that thing up.
I tell you what, though, it was a hell of a good race, though, between him and if he does get it. I mean, it's a hell of a good race between him and May. And I really felt like if somehow or another Jonathan Taylor could have broke the yards record or the touchdowns record and got the MVP. I mean, he was close to doing that too. He's kind of got derailed towards the end.
He fell off about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so he was well off the pace, after that.
But when he was on that pace, though, he was tearing it up. I really thought he had a good shot at it. Like you said, he fell off, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, well, and Rob, that is going to make some influence as well, is the fact that they had such a soft schedule. Some of that is going to be the case. But even if you did the soft schedule, right? Like say you weren't looking at that. If you look at the yardage, Stafford has 4,700 versus 4,300. Total touchdowns, 46 versus 35. Both had 8. The only thing that Drake May was better at was rushing yards, 450 versus 1. And then completion percentage was a little bit higher for May at 72 versus 65. But when you're looking at the total yards, touchdowns to interceptions, Stafford gets it the whole way. And when it's Drake May's touchdowns, 4 of them were on the ground. So he had 31 passing. So yeah, I think May, although played well, probably just didn't get enough done to beat Stafford out for the MVP this year.
You know what's interesting to me? So Lawrence Taylor won the MVP back in 1986. I wonder why Myles Garrett, since he broke the single season sack record, would not have been an option at the MVP.
Well, his team didn't do anything at all.
No, I understand, but I mean, I'm still saying, but you broke a record. I mean, I would thought that might have been enough to get you in, even though obviously, yeah, you're right. They didn't make the playoffs
No,
or
I mean,
anything.
for the same reason that Joe Burrow didn't win a year ago with a Triple Crown receiver and, throwing for a crazy amount of yards, they were a terrible team. If he played on a 12 or 13 win team, he probably wins that award.
All right. I got to imagine at the very least he takes Defensive Player of the Year with that. Or do you think that it still falls in the same category that you have to be on a winning team to get the award?
No, he might get that.
It's possible.
Okay.
I
Winning
haven't
teams-
heard of anybody else having such a standout year that they would compete against him for that.
Yeah, no, I think he gets Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't see. Anyway, who would get Comeback Player of the Year?
Oh, that probably goes to Rodgers.
That could make sense.
He probably gets Comeback Player of the Year because this is first full season off of the injury, right? Because he was still not right that last year and with the Jets. Like he didn't start playing decent football until the end of the year.
Didn't have enough games.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Although that would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see Aaron get. I don't like Aaron. He's just such an ego about him, but yeah, I mean he deserves it.
I mean,
He deserves it. I mean,
he didn't really make a difference when you think about it, though.
all right.
I mean, it is the Steelers are exactly who they've been, regardless of who's been under center. Whether it was Trubisky or Rudolph or whatever the Russ situation was last year, they've all been the same team, right? They've all been a 9 or 10 win team that probably gets smoked in the first round.
Right. I'm pretty sure y'all may have talked about before I got on the show, but I was really surprised. I mean, I kind of figured maybe they might move on from Harbaugh, but it still shocked me that they actually moved on from Harbaugh. Were y'all shocked by that? Or John Harbaugh from the Ravens?
He's not fired.
I thought he got fired. I thought I saw somewhere he got fired. That might
fired.
Maybe what I saw was fake news. Then I apologize. I just thought I saw somewhere he had gotten fired.
There's plenty of speculation, but he, as it sits today, he hasn't been fired.
Okay, then maybe what I saw might have been fake news, man. Some of the stuff still looks so freaking real. It's hard to decipher the choices if they're real or not.
Yeah. They fire Eberflus.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, I wouldn't doubt at some point he coaches in the NFL. I could see that.
I think, well, he is. Aren't the Jets bringing him in for interviews or somebody bringing him in for interviews? I thought I read.
I hadn't heard that.
Man, I thought I saw something.
Falcons are considering Stefanski and Kubiak, and I also heard them attached to, the Titans are attached to the coach of the Falcons.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't understand that. I really don't get it. Like, let's talk to the guy who just got fired because he was doing such a great job. Surprising. Anyways, with the last 5 minutes, any thoughts on MI?
Yeah, man, I'm curious to see it. If he could be the next Yamamoto, I think he had a 1.92 ERA over in Japan. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what they can do. When the Astros got Kikuchi, I thought they did a good job. Put him into developing him and making him successful with the Astros before he departed off into free agency. So I'm looking forward to it. You put him behind Hunter Brown, that could be a pretty good 1-2 punch. That could be a real nice 1-2 punch. And then you got Javier right behind that. I mean, I don't know. The rotation's looking pretty good. I'm curious. They're saying he could be like Yamamoto, and if he's anywhere near like Yamamoto, I'll be excited about it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if he's anywhere near like that guy, I would be extremely excited. I like some of the things the Astros are doing, man. They got another guy coming up, the number 8 prospect, another pitching prospect. He's just tearing it up right now, and so. I don't know, man. We might get some things coming up in the pipeline for the Stros hopefully next year. We'll see what happens. I do think we're in a transitional period. I think we're definitely moving in the direction of Cam Smith and Bryce Matthews and guys like that. So we're definitely starting to make moves now. I'm curious to see if we move on from Christian Walker, though. And I've seen a lot of people talk about Jake Myers possibly could be on the trade block. Which would be interesting because he's a hell of a good defender in center field. I think he's got like a 98% catch rate on fly balls, almost a 260 hitter. I mean, there's some. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what they do. It's looking interesting.
It will be because there's a lot of there are a lot more big signings than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's like I thought that this was going to solve, like this is going to be one of these years where they were not going to do a lot, but not the
well,
case.
and that's where I think the conversation must be that any of these signed prior to this negotiation will get grandfathered in, and if that's the case, then you'd want to get your big deal done before a salary cap gets thrown in. So if that's the conversation that's already out there, then it does make sense to go get that money.
Right. Is it? It's interesting to me the number of players now that have come over from Japan that are into the league. Like you're really starting to see that influx of foreign players coming into the league even more and more.
Did on the West Coast already, anyway.
Yeah, but you know how like it was. We saw the influx of Latino players coming into the league from South America, Central America, things like that, and that was a big wave of that. Now it's interesting. Now we're starting to see the wave of Japanese players come over and Korean players come over. Yeah, it's interesting.
And you were already. They were just hitting West Coast teams.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's been happening for years.
Yeah,
and they have lessened the dowry.
Yeah,
that you have to do. Like that was one of the things that came of this. So there is more of there's more of an even trade of American players going over to Japan.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have stopped they've stopped kind of overcharging for that.
Right. And I do think getting Iman is going to be good for the Astros in terms of our building our fan base internationally, right? I mean, it's going to get a lot more eyes on the Astros. So I feel like that's a good thing, in terms of a mid-market team. That I feel like it's always good to have eyes on you. So I think it's going to be another international thing that's going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, it helps grow the sport for sure. Just before we get out of here, shout out to the Wolfpack. AF1 is having their scouting combine this week.
Awesome.
Kicks off this Thursday down in Naples, Florida. So it's a 3-day scouting combine. All the teams are going to be there. So if you happen to be down in Naples, go check it out. Should be pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing what the teams are going to be this year.
And if you want to scout Bo for that, he's looking for a job.
No, the knees.
Hey, look, Phillip Rivers could do it. So can you.
The knees would not handle any of that. I play a wildly different position than Phillip Rivers.
Well, you can be a placeholder. Can you do the placeholder job? That's not too terrible. You could probably get that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to lace them back up, man. Like I'd love to, but no. That being said, if you're watching on my YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you were watching on Pags, man,
rough day of the world.
Get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Later.